Hi everyone. Today we're going to show you a new upcoming platform called OptionsDesk, which is specific to options trading. Now, this entire module, as you see, is broken down into 3 or 4 components. The first component is called decision making. Second component is charting, and third component is trading. So, in terms of layout, we have a similar kind of a layout as in our charting terminal right now. So you have the top bar, you have 2 sidebars and a bottom bar. The additional feature you have here is that each of these pieces, as you can see, can be moved and can be configured the way you want. Everything is movable, resizable, reconfigurable, which allows you to create your own terminal based UI that you want. Now, in terms of the major components, right, we'll start with uh, decision making. So in the decision making, the first component that you should be aware of is called as the options chain. So I have right now here the underlying asset, which is Ethereum on Deribit. And so it kind of gives me all the contracts, calls and put contracts associated with all the series on that underlying. So you have these 810 series associated with Ethereum right now trading on Deribit, and when you open each one of them, you get to see what we call as the options chain. So it's here you start with the strike price in the middle, and this is your underlying price in orange. And on the left hand side you have the calls, on the right hand side you have the puts. uh, Anything which has a strike price lower than the underlying on the call side is in the money, and anything which is a strike price higher than the underlying on the put side is again in the money and highlighted in different colors. Now you have the real and the paper, 2 columns. Real gives you the position of all the real trades that you have made, right? And paper will allow you to kind of monitor your positions on all the paper trading that you have done in our platform. In terms of metrics, in terms of layout, every column is resizable. You can right click on any column or double click on a column to get many options that we will talk about in a while. But quickly, first let's get to the basics. So this is what is options chain. Here on the top, you can choose the number of strikes that you want, which means basically number of rows above and below the underlying. So right now I have it at 8, so you get 8 on the top and 8 on the bottom. You can increase it, or you can even, you know, so for example, if I give like 4, you can see only the 4 layers or 2 layers above and below the underlying price. So that's how kind of you configure your options chain platform. In terms of metrics, here on the top right corner, you have the metrics section where you can choose whatever metric you want. So right now I have the paper, real, LTP, which is the last traded price, the ask, bid, delta, and the open interest selected. But it gives you a ton of options. You can choose all the Greeks that you want, which includes gamma, vega, rho. You can choose the implied volatility on the bid side, on the ask side. You can do a lot of things. So for now, we can probably go ahead and add at least the bid and the ask volatilities. And I have already the delta in here, and it is getting updated on a real-time basis. So after that, we're going to talk a little bit around the context menu. So if you double click or right click, you get what we call as a context menu. So for example, if you go to symbol info, it will give you the information, metadata associated with this particular contract, like what is the lot size, tick size, commissions, etc. If you wish to download the entire options chain, you can go for download to Excel. You can add any of the contracts to your watch list or to our price chart, which you'll see here on the top. And you can also add it to our strategy wizard, which is the second component of our decision making module, which we'll get to in a while. And then you have the trader, which is the third or the fourth module, you can say, uh, where you can directly start trading on it, right? So So in terms of cosmetics, you can go to the settings, the general settings in the application. Here in the options, you can choose however you want to configure the table. Do you want highlighted in the money? Do you want certain borders? Do you want these bars, which I call as the open interest bars, which kind of visually helps you understand where the volume or the liquidity is, etc. Right? So that's on the option chain. And the good thing about our module is you get to see all the options chain, all the series in one terminal view. You don't have to go out and select in the search button different series. It's all there associated with a given underlying asset. In this case, it is Ethereum. All right. And then what we also do is provide you a unique view, which I'm calling as the heat flow view, which kind of combines all these series together into a single view so that you can see the entire picture across all the contracts, across all the series in a 2 by 2 grid. So we'll go into that. So, so for example, here, so I have right now, you know, the strike price in the middle, and C naught is basically the call of the nearest expiring series, which is in 0 days, right? And P naught are all the puts associated with the nearest expiring series, which is again in 0 days. So this is basically the weeklies that you see. C1 will also probably be the weekly for the next out week series, and then the monthly start in C2, C3, C4. So you get to see all the series in one 2 by 2 grid, and the numbers that you see here is basically what I've chosen here is open interest, but you have the option to choose whatever you want. For example, right? So you can choose here whatever you want in your grid, and it will kind of consolidate the view across all series, all contracts into this one heat map flow. And the colors are gradient, which means basically you can see where the highest liquidity is and where the money is flowing in. So that's what we call as the heat flow view, which kind of derives the concept from on order flow. All right, so that kind of brings us to the first section. Okay, and then what you could do is you can look at something called as the strategy wizard, okay, which is in down in the bottom, right? The strategy wizard gives you the ability to kind of paper trade as well as real trade. And before you do that, it allows you to look at your payoff chart, analyze different positions, look at all the metrics, your P&L before you make a decision. So how do you get to there? There are multiple ways of actually adding any contract to this paper. Okay, let me clear it first, right? So the first way is obviously you can directly go from the options chain, add to strategy builder, buy, and you can choose the unit. So for example, I said 10 units of this particular contract. The moment I add it, it gets added here under paper, as you can see. So the strategy is paper right now. Within paper, I have, for example, I have this selected. I have buy, which I have done. Okay, and anything in green with a circle on it, like a ring, is basically paper trade, and it is still in open position. The size is 10. I can click on it and change the size I want. Right, I can change the buy or the sell I want. For now, I have put it as buy. These are all the important metrics, including the symbol name, segment, strike, LTP expiration date, your entry exit points. Right now I've entered at 2681, right? This is the point I have entered, as you can see. And at the same time, you can see this 10 here in a green color under paper. That means I've taken a position 10 units in this particular strike contract. And then you have all the gammas in here and the betas and the Greeks of the world. So that's basically probably the first way you can kind of add anything to your strategy wizard. Okay, now the second way would be to directly choose the symbol that you want. So symbol lookup allows you to kind of look at all the symbols, like I said, and you can select here, you can put the size, you can select whether you want to go for buy or sell, and you can directly add. So that's the second way, right? If you wish to add the underlying, which in this case is Ethereum USD, you can directly click here and it will add the underlying future or the spot, whatever is the underlying, directly to the strategy wizard. So, and then finally, we have something called as the add strategy, which basically gives you a list of 38 strategies which are uh, basically categorized under bullish, bearish, volatility, and arbitrage. So you can choose any one of them if you wish. For example, if I can go, for example, I can go, I don't know, long call back spread, right? I can go for here and I apply it. It will directly kind of add the necessary contracts from the option chain directly to your strategy wizard. So here you can see there is a sell of this contract, and then there is a buy of 2 units on this contract, and you can see it here under, for example, so paper is your first strategy which you added. Now you added another strategy called long call back spread, and if you open it, and you can see your long call, the legs, as you may want to call it, right? And so we kind of give you the ability to kind of add your positions based on either 38 predefined strategies, or you can create your own strategies. The beauty of the predefined strategies is that every strategy is uh, connotated with a formula. Like you can see the structure: +1 call strike x1 t naught. It means 1 unit of buy because it's +1, call with a strike, and x1 is basically its relative position compared to the strike price, and t naught is basically your series that you want to choose. In this case it is the nearest series, but if I want to choose any other series, say I want to choose a monthly, so I can put here and it will automatically come to t4, and you can add it directly, and it will in that case directly give you the similar kind of structure on contracts, but from the fourth series uh, in this in this option chain series that you can see here. Okay, now you do have the ability on to kind of look at your payoff. So here is the payoff chart. Okay, now we will, so what you can do is, what I like to do is, everything in this layout is configurable, so you can actually drag any of the tabs, and put it the way you want. Okay, so now I have on the left hand side I have the options chain, and on the right hand side I have what I'm calling as the payoff chart. As you can see here, the payoff chart has 3-4 components to it, which would be important to note. So on the right now, the way I've configured is, you have the left axis and the right axis. You on the right axis I have chosen PNL, so you are seeing the PNL here curve right now, the theoretical and the actual strategy PNL, which is shaded in blue color, the area under the curve. And on the left hand side I've selected delta, so this green line is the delta curve. Now you have the ability to choose any of the Greeks you want. And so the another added advantage of our platform is, we not only give you the strategy payoff chart, but we also give you the overlaying Greeks on your strategy. So right now this is your strategy, and you have the ability to actually choose, select, and deselect anything you want. So for example, I have deselected paper right now, and you can select and deselect the way you want, and the strategy wizard will work accordingly. The Another component within the strategy wizard is what we call as the what if analysis. So when you click on this, you have the ability to choose the volatility. You can tweak the volatility, and you can do a what if analysis with time and volatility. So that's another advantage. The third is obviously a draw panel. So if you want to draw certain lines, or certain important levels, I don't know, you can do so. So we have that ability as well. So that is those are all additional abilities that probably does not exist in other modules. Uh, on the strategy wizard, you have the ability to basically, under each strategy, each of these records that you are seeing here are basically what we call as legs. In our platform, you have the ability to add unlimited number of legs. There is no limit to the number of legs you want, and using these convenient buttons, for example the reverse, you can actually reverse the entire mm, uh, the entire each of the series gets reversed here. Or you can choose the plus minus signs to kind of increment and decrement your volumes for all the legs. So those are other features that you can look at, which are convenient in my opinion, right? So that kind of brings us more or less to the end of the paper trading and payoff chart. Now on the trade part, you can directly click on here, right, and start trading. Right now I have the broker as Deribit, but I'm not going to do that because it's real money. I'm going to try and do it with our Gocharting paper trading broker. So you can select whatever quantity you want and you can directly, buy or sell or whatever. You know, once you sell, you will hear a beep sound, okay, and you'll see that the order is executed. This is now becomes like a live trade, okay. Now I have taken this live trade. So what is going to happen is another component called real will appear. These will contain all your live trades, and the live trades does not have a ring but is actually fully circle, and here you can see that it's a live trade. Now you can right click on any one of them and close your position if you want, okay. So we also give you the ability to close your position from here, right here on the strategy wizard, and it will show up on the and on all your what do I call it? Your closed positions are also tracked here. So I can place order, toggle selection, close position. Okay, let's close it. So I'm going to close it, and I'm going to, for example, this is a paper trade, and I'm going to give the exit figure as I'm making it up, say $50, right? So I entered at 26, I'm exiting at 50, right? So once I do that, you see the gross PNL I can see here as $232, and it shows up here as well, the $206 additional that I made by closing this position. So it shows up on your PNL. So we are tracking both open orders as well as close orders. So that is another additional advantage that you have with us. So the other component is what we call as the volumes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this back, and I'm gonna add volume surface now. So volatility surface enables you to look at all the series in a what do I call visual manner, right? So here, as you can see, this is your volatility skew or whatever you want to call it. Some people call it skew, some people call it smile, but it's basically, I don't see it as a smile, to be honest. But anyways, so you can choose whatever series you want from here, right? And it will give you, for example, there are various indicators. So I have selected, so I can go with just a volatility smile, which is basically on the y-axis you have the implied volatility, on the x-axis you have what we call as the strike price. And then if I wish, I can add more indicators to it. So you can add the volumes, open interest, premium, max pain. So all of these important metrics that we talk about can now be viewed directly on the single chart itself, which is a added advantage from a UI standpoint. And you can choose whether you want to go all in or you want to see just the calls or the puts. So, so these three or four components kind of come together to build what we call as our decision making module on the options change part. And then I've already taken you through the trading piece, and the final piece is obviously the price chart. So you can directly chart uh, all your option contracts and your futures directly through our platform, and you have the ability, for example, to have your option chain on the left hand side and your price chart on the right hand side. Doesn't matter how you want to configure, there are multiple ways of doing it. So I can have the price chart in here, and if I want the payoff chart also, I can put it here. I can drag it to somewhere in here. Let me, instead of, let me drag it, yeah, this is better. Yeah, so what is happening now is I have on the top the payoff chart, on the bottom I have the price chart, on the left I have the option chain. So I have a complete view of everything that I want in one terminal, and that is one of the major advantages of this. And there are many other components in the left and right hand side which we can go through in a subsequent session. Hope you like it. Thank you so much.